one of the most powerful liberations for me
Yeah.
was learning how to embody every facet of my rage, my grief, my jealousy, my heartbreak, like all of it, all of it, all of it.
And let's talk about how we put that into practice. I can think of like a few iconic swamps that we've had. Antarctica definitely comes to mind.
Oh my God.
Should we like give a little like 101 on the Antarctica swamp?
Oh, sure. Let's go there. But it started before that. I think that we started to practice swamping live when we were in Nosara, didn't we? Which was a few months before Antarctica.
I think we even did it earlier than that when we actually like truly swamped together. I also remember like you have this because you used to do it in garbage bags, right?
Yeah,
But now
no, totally. We did it in Mastery when you took Mastery.
And I like, but now for like ecological purposes, you have
We
this
know
swamp
more.
outfit. And
Yeah.
I remember you like sending me a photo. You have this like horrid tail thing and like a horrific like tutu where it's just like
Yeah.
because the idea was that you kind of dressed like the
Here's
low
the-
vibration things that you
Okay.
felt.
How swamping started for me was I realized like, I was at this place, I was living in a commune with unbelievable people. It was like the happiest period of my entire life. And I would still wake up some days and I would be like this raging bitch from hell or just grief filled, and I wouldn't understand it. I'd be like, but I'm living how I want to live. I love where I am, but I would have these like raging emotions. And my thought was, it was like when I was combining my study of the ancient goddess traditions with, my sensuality practices. And in the ancient goddess traditions, there was perfection in all things. Like there was no facet of life that wasn't perfect. Death was as perfect as birth, was as perfect as sickness, was as perfect health, was as perfect as, rain was as perfect as sunshine, like all of the perfection. So I thought, if that is the truth, then there has to be perfection in all of those dark emotions. And I thought the only way I can feel the perfection of it is if I dress as I have to embody my darkness. I threw a trash bag on and I wrote "Raging Bitch from Hell" in a t-shirt across my trash bag and just like taped it on there and just walked around so that my outside matched my inside. And I felt so fucking liberated. And then I ended up pouring that into the technology of one of my practices when I was teaching a few years later. And then I watched like how liberated women got when they, maybe some of them for the first time in their lives, we got celebrated for being like a fucking freak show of rage. You had like an audience clapping for you or a sisterhood saying, rock on, bring it, give me more. You are gorgeous in your raging bitch from hell. You are gorgeous in your grief. And I realized like every facet of woman wants to be honored. She wants to be seen. She wants to be loved. She wants to be welcomed.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it transmutes. In fact, pour a little turn on into your darkness, whatever flavor it is, and it actually transmutes into whatever the what's next is on your way towards your desires, which you cannot get to without embodying that. So it's like, no wonder there's so many women frustrated where like, I can't get what I want. I can't get the baby I want or the man I want or the job I want or the career I want because we're not allowing ourselves to break and remake. So it was so exciting for me to just experience how shit, I can actually be in control by giving in to my truth. Like what's more powerful than that? So we started to do that, and then we started to invite the guys in. And the thing that you're talking about in Antarctica, were you talking about that one where?
Yeah, I was talking about that. So we have a friend, Mickey, Mickey Agarwal, she's fucking epic. And she
amazing.
She likes to invite people to all things all the time.
Things,
so it's both a
all the things.
superpower and sometimes horrifying.
Yeah.
So it's
sometimes both.
Sometimes both at the same time. And so we were planning the swamp and we were going to do it because we had these little cabins on this giant ship. We were going to Antarctica for 10 days and we were crossing the Drake's Passage and there were like 40-foot waves. And so everyone's like a little afraid they were going to die and kind of crabby and we were all stuck on a ship and all of that. So it was like, let's swamp. So we like made a meeting time and we were all going to swamp. And all of a sudden there were like 3 rando dudes that you did not know. And they showed up. And at first, you rightly so had a bit of a
No,
protectionism.
I was like, Mickey, there's no way. Like, this is my time. This is my swamp time with my girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like, I am not these 3 random men. I'm sure they're lovely.
Yeah.
But no.
And you like brought your crush, you know, like she had brought her crush to Swamp.
Oh, that's right. She had. That was the whole thing, wasn't it?
The whole thing.
It was the whole
It was the
point.
whole
She had a
thing.
big crush.
That's the whole thing.
So but then, you know, I looked at it and I was like, Regina, this is what is here.
Yeah.
It is time to surrender. So I thought, okay, this is what I can do.
You only looked at it that way after I talked to you.
Did you talk me off the ceiling?
I was basically like, come on. Like, I actually think like the breaking open.
There's but I held out because I was like, I will hold space for all you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But I am not swamping.
Yeah.
There is no way I'm going to swamp, but I will hold space, the good, caring individual that I am. So that's how I wrapped around it. And then we ended up having, first of all, I still remember your swamp that day.
Yeah.
You were like off the fucking chain, the walls, mama.
Yeah.
You were off the walls. I remember you.
Let's like paint the picture too. We're in this tiny little cabin.
Yeah, which is basically a bed with a tiny aisle around it that you can barely fit a person in.
Yeah, maybe gets like a full to a queen kind of.
Yeah.
And so we all had to cram in between the bed and the window that was like looking out into the Drake's Passage.
Yeah.
And then one person would swamp on the bed.
While
the rest of us were crouched around in support.
Yeah. Blasting the music super loud.
Yeah.
And you were just like on a fucking tear. Were you the first swamper?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you broke the room open.
Yeah. I'd made a stand for the whole thing. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go first. You know?
Yeah, you did.
And I did like a whole thing around being like being so powerful, being a high priestess, being a witch, and like feeling men being afraid.
Yeah.
Not like in claiming of that and the power of that. And like just this like raw frustration and rage of being like who and what I am, and being like how can they be so scared of the thing they most want?
Exactly. And it was so gorgeous, and we were all in tears and clapping and the whole situation. And then we went through each person. And here's the thing, because of your courage in going for it so powerfully, everybody got the sacred download that they were to go for it. And then what happened was, you know, of course, Mickey went, Emily, I can't remember. I think maybe it was just the 3 or 4 of us. And then the guys went.
Yeah.
And that's when my heart blew open.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because these guys, as if they were given a permission slip to themselves and to their aliveness, and to be cheered and celebrated for their insane rage, frustration, anger, grief. I mean, it was like they were jumping off the walls, the ceilings, like fucking the bed, that like tearing up that room. Like, it was crazy. And it was so moving, and was so incredibly moving, because it was like, we are women holding space for the fullness of who and what a man is. And we're living in the hashtag Me Too generation, where men don't quite know what to do with their fullness. They don't know what to do with that, of the full depth and breadth and wildness of them. And they're afraid that if they bring that to the feminine, they'll destroy her or get accused of being too much or taking advantage of her or overpowering her. And so here we were, women choosing to say, guys, give us everything that you have. And it was fucking holy. And it was hot also. Like, there was no, it was just like seriously hot. Like, every single one of those men, I was so turned on to.
And these are like alpha males in their career and how they do the world and all this. And they like broke open,
sobbing.
It was so raw. And then when they like brought the arrows and got turned on, it was so hot.
Oh God.
It was just like raw masculine emotion and fuck. And you were like, we were all wet. We all also like fell in love with each other. Like,
we did.
It was just like
Deeply.
So raw and hot that it was like, we're all getting married. Like, that's the only. It's like the only option left.
Yeah. And it actually broke open so many beautiful adventures to come because of how we held each other.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once those guys went, I was like, okay, I'm going to swamp. And then I just really got to tear it up. And I got to two things, tear it up, and I got held by men and women. So once again, it just proves that Mickey is always right. That's what it proves.
Yeah, Mickey. Oh my God.